Alcohol. How'd you quit drinking?
The demons don't have control over me. I have control over them.
I had tried taking my life 3 times.
You're worth what you work worth.
You talk negativity. You talk, I can't, I won't, I'll fail. That's what you're going to get.
The most important thing is what you feed your mind.
I came home, I had a gallon of whiskey.
Words is, are you okay?
Thank you.
And that is so powerful. I mean, it is.
My brother quit.
Just quit cold turkey.
Cold turkey.
Drugs and alcohol wasn't the problem. I was the problem.
I got a special guest today, Mark. This guy has, I mean, when we talk about someone that has wisdom and a guy that's been there and I mean, the help that he does, the stuff that he does to help veterans, not only veterans, I mean, just in general people. He's learned a lot about mental health, and it's one of his biggest focuses. I'm very, very proud to have him tonight. And
Good evening.
I'm give
How's
it
it
to
going?
Mark. Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah.
Can you hear me out there?
Yeah. So Mark, just tell us a little bit about, I know there's a lot of details in your life that you don't really want to step on, and I get that. That's very understandable. But just give us a little bit about, how you come to start wanting to really get into the mental health thing and help people and, that road pretty much.
Interesting. Good question. My journey began quite some time ago. Actually from childhood. Dealing with a lot of emotional neglect, a lot of physical neglect, a lot of things that wasn't very nice that occurred when I was younger.
Right.
And so really, I'm 62, and I don't mind telling people, I guess my entire life, except for the first, 7 years of my life that I really honestly didn't even remember because of the horrific things, that were, that I witnessed as a child.
Right, yeah.
They say, an interesting thing is doctors are getting so much closer to better understanding when you're in your mother's womb. And they're proving more and more every day that the woman that's carrying the child, if she is beat, battered, bruised, kicked, stomped, the child is living that. And it's funny, and we wonder why we're so attached to our mothers, throughout our lives. Isn't that strange? But, so I lived with that in my younger years, and then, of course, as you're growing up, when you have repeated traumas as a child, it's complex post-traumatic stress disorder. It's PTSD, and was diagnosed with that. Actually, early in my childhood, I was misdiagnosed as ADD, and back in the day, because I'm kind of an old guy, the doctors of the mind were not, there wasn't a lot of them.
Right, no, yeah.
Few and far. And thank God we got a bunch of them today because, therapists are, in my optics, therapists are heroes. I mean,
right, no,
people, if your mind is not strong, the rest of you will not be strong. I mean, it's just, it's something that you have to stay in tune with and be mindful of. I have to be mindful every minute that I'm awake. Because that's what it does to you. Mental, I'm such an advocate for it because of what I've been through. And I don't want people to go, oh, you know what I mean?
Right.
I want people to learn from it.
Right.
And learn why when you're dealing with your child and you do something that I might speak about tonight that really rocked my world.
Right, yeah.
Think about this.
Right, 100%. Yeah.
And what better do you need than I'm the student. I've got lots and lots of experience in childhood neglect, abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse, and, you know, back to trauma, part of mental health.
Right.
You know, there's things I thank God that I can talk about now.
Yeah.
Because, Rick, I'm not kidding you, man. There's things at one time, everything was inside from childhood all the way up to the middle age. I hit it, something I'm not real proud of, but I was too manly to expose this to my family for a long time.
Yeah.
I would just run.
Yeah.
And
So many people do that.
oh, man. And it's so disheartening. And it's one of the reasons that my heart itself is so embedded in fixing this shit.
Yeah.
Because it's just sad. I mean, but anyway, so, you know, to give you kind of an idea, I apologize. I didn't mean to get off on that.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. You're doing great.
But
It's awesome.
so, you know, things happened throughout my life, several other traumas. I'm a disabled veteran, a brotherhood, part of a brotherhood that there is no better,
Right.
forevermore. You see the shirt?
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
you
and
know,
we appreciate everything y'all do for, have done. Yeah.
and I'm talking about, I'm talking about family and, hold on to everything you got. You don't take for granted. I've had so many things occur that people have cast such a negative title on it before
Right.
I even got to experience it. You know.
Yeah.
And mental health for me, as I was getting older, it was far too embarrassing to talk about, and the stigmatizations were so incredible.
Right.
So I was the real man. I stood there in front of my daughters and did the real dad thing. You know, you stand with your hands on your hip and you look at them with great deals of confidence and you tell them you're going to be okay because I'm your dad. I'm Superman. And then you walk back in the fucking room and cry like a baby because you're triggered. Honestly, when my children, of course, they're in their 30s now, but I'll remember this like it's so vivid. When we first brought them home, when they were little, my girls are only 10 months apart. Boy, was I busy, wasn't I? My buddies say, wow, what'd you do? Did y'all fornicate while she was still in the hospital? We could have, you never know. I'm a veteran.
Right, yeah.
But so, I started getting, at one point, really bad. I mean, like a good friend of mine that's no longer around, but says it like this. He says, depression and mental health and anxiety and all these things, and he was in a real bad way. I said, yeah, what man? Talk to me. You all right? Talk to me, man. Come on. I was making him bleed this out. I said, tell me what it feels like, man. I said, I'm here for you. And he says, I'm 6 foot tall. And he says, I'm in a hole 25 foot deep. And I'm looking up. And I see the light up there. But the problem is I'm in this cylinder like a drill bit, drilling through.
Yeah.
So I can't lift my arms. I can't. I'm stuck.
Right.
But I'm looking up thinking, I can do this, but there's no fucking way I can do this, so I'm doomed. That's the feeling. It's the feeling of doom. And there's ways that people perceive it and feel. It radiates with some people.
Yeah.
And I was one of them people. And so I was in a real bad way myself. When in 2015, Excuse me.
No, you're fine, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
No big deal.
And,
I know it's tough, you know.
yeah.
I mean,
In 2015, my son's in a rock band. They're in a very good rock band.
I heard
me
about
and you
that.
talked
Yeah,
about
yeah,
travel all over the world. Did
Yeah.
170 shows. Musician,
right. Yeah,
bass.
no,
You
awesome.
know, yeah, great guy too. But one of the original members of the band, which my son is, and the rhythm guitar player, one of the original members, 21 years old, lifelong friend of Chris, my son, hung himself in his grandmother and grandfather's basement. And he was, he was like my son.
Right.
He was
Right. He was like your son.
good kid. Good. Real good kid.
Right.
Why? Everybody's first thing, why? The chatter goes, why? Everybody's heart broke. There's so many different emotions when something like that happens. It's just terrible.
Wow.
So we all meet the day of his, the day he died by suicide, in my daughter and son's house, at their house. Band members, friends, mainly band members, and a few family. And I'll never forget everybody was outside, and of course it was a very somber day. It was cold, really super cold, December day, cold, 14 degrees. And I went inside to use the restroom, and when I came out, my 31-year-old daughter was standing there. My 31-year-old governor scholar, 4.0 student, kindergarten to master's to school teaching. She was feeling the same way I was. Eyes welled up with tears, asking why. And I said, this is a story of Dad's vulnerability.
Right.
And Dad's terrible fight with PTSD itself,
Right.
But she didn't know that.
Right.
See, this
Because
is
that's tough to tell your kids.
Yeah. And not only that, but I was a man. I was a real man.
Well, yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's tough to. I don't
want my
no weakness.
I don't want my friend Rick to know I've got this weakness.
Right.
I don't want my daughter, especially
yes.
I got daughters. I'm supposed to be Superman. It's supposed to be the
100%,
big S forever with the daughter.
That's normal. Yeah.
You come knocking on my door and want to date my daughter. Oh boy.
Right.
You better hope. But I did. Fortunate enough, my daughter. He asked me if he could marry her. So, but anyway, back to the story. I kind of went to hug her, and I got this kind of strange look from her. And we're sad because of Alan, but she says, "Dad, I've tried to kill myself quite a few times," and I went,
"Oh."
So I says, now I'm fumbling like I am now, but I was
right.
then.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, but it's very understandable.
So I couldn't believe what I heard, but I heard it. Trust me. And I looked her in the eye, and I didn't know whether to cry and just break down on my knees because, and here's why. I never, ever knew it, and neither did her mother. She was what's called high-functioning deep depression.
That's crazy, man.
High-functioning. They say it happens in people who are very intellectual.
Yeah.
You hear stories about
Right.
Einstein and all these brilliant guys, but deep down, they were
depressed,
and the stigmatization of all that is the same stigmas I was living with. What do you mean? And I asked her that. I said, I looked her in the eye. Now, by this time, my lower jaw was starting to quiver, but I can't cry. I got to be strong. My daughter's sick. She doesn't feel good.
Right.
What do I do? But I'm going, oh my God, what my brain's going, what do I do? What I do?
Right. Oh my God.
Because my PTSD now is just firing. And I had hit it. But I stayed. I don't know how I kept my composure. I told her everything's going to be all right, and I gave her a great big squeeze hug, and then I left. I went home. And it's so strange. Here's how it affected me. It's 14 degrees. I remember, see, with PTSD, there's something that I found is quite, I guess it's a terrible thing. I don't know, or maybe it's a good thing. But I have the ability to see things very vividly, especially if it's something that wasn't so pleasant.
Right.
And so on the ride home, I get to this. Now, she only lived 3 miles from me and her mom, or, me and my wife's house. And I went to the first stop sign, and I was sweating bullets. So I took my shirts. I had 3 layers of clothing. I took all 3 of them off. I was burning up all of a sudden for some reason. And I remember I got to my house, finally let everybody know that I've had this for a long time, and I should have said something to my family.
Right. I get what you're saying. Okay, yeah.
Because I guess what I'm getting, my point is, and one of my messages I try to tell people, obviously, is never give up. Please don't. But also, I'm with you. I mean, and I want to share my story because if you're living in this misery that I lived in, I mean, when I would trigger badly to where I would shake, I would have to leave. Yeah. And many, many times my family went, where'd Dad go? Where'd Dad go?
Right. They
didn't know what was wrong with Dad.
Right.
And then Dad would be gone for 2 hours and come back. And, I would literally pull off the side of the road and just, it's not in my situation, because I love to clear the way with this thing too. In my PTSD, it's a cower thing. It's a run, hide, crawl up under the fucking bed, Yeah. I mean, when you're a little kid and you hear the door open and the fire-breathing fucking dragon walks in.
Right.
And that's what I had. His nickname was the fire-breathing
And is
dragon.
that something that, like, a lot of veterans deal with because of war and stuff?
Yes. And here's the thing. It doesn't matter a traumatic thing that occurs in your life. Trauma is how you process it. It's how something.
But the run and hide thing is what I was saying.
Right. Yeah. With some veterans are they just lock down. They don't. It's a fight or freeze. You fight, you fry, you freeze. There's so many different variations, and it's so true. So I started. The reason I knew, obviously from a kid being diagnosed, when they say, your son doesn't have ADD, that's what my mom finally got a real mental doctor. Yeah. And when I was 8 years old, but I was already on Ritalin. I'd been on Ritalin for a while. I hated that shit so bad as a kid. I would ping off the walls. And Mom would fix breakfast in the morning before school, and she would always leave that Ritalin pill there. And after a while, I remember, this is when I started remembering things in my childhood. That shit made me ping off the walls. I was already hypered out, and I stopped taking it, and nobody ever knew it. So I even as a little kid, knew, wait a minute, this wasn't what was wrong with me. They give you medicine.
Right.
Yeah, they give you medicine for a sore fucking throat. When you don't have a sore throat, you got fucking hemorrhoids. You know what I mean?
Right.
So anyway, then my mom gets this real lady comes in, a child psychiatrist, and says, this young man has post-traumatic stress disorder from the beatings and the kickings and the stompings and the general, when the fire-breathing dragon came in, it was time to whoop some ass. And it didn't mean if it was mine, my mom's. And when, people process trauma differently. And I'm glad I can speak about even things like this. Podcasts have helped me a great deal.
Because right. That's why I love it so much.
Yeah. And by the way, hats off. I don't even have one, but hats off to you, brother, because it's people like you that can bring attention to this. You know, as I said, and I'll go into more of why I do what I do. Because my story's almost over as far as why or what happened, you know. And so then I decided that, you know, as it kept getting worse, I jumped into tons of literature and everything about PTSD, traumatic brain injury, all the different things that neuropathy, over and over, the symptoms of stuff I had, the diagnosis that I already had. What does it morph into? It could be this, an autoimmune inflammation disease like I have from a severed spinal cord. It creates some unbelievable challenges.
Yeah.
But if I had not somehow, some way, you're never healed from PTSD. You're never healed from it. There's no cure for it. You can be in a healing process. Some of the greatest people I know that I study that have PTSD and some of their techniques, it's a niche that you have to find that helps you, you know.
Right.
Some people lose weight doing Pilates and some people don't, you know.
Right.
It's a different.
It's different, yeah.
But I wanted to just say, you know, in order for anything to even be looked at, you have to be able to bring it or to show them, hey, you know, this guy's done 94 million podcasts about this subject. Look at his followers. You guys, because if you don't do it that way, unfortunately, our government, it's going to be
that's right. I know, and that's the biggest thing. But I do, you know, my biggest focus is to help people and get, you know, and I mean, and you know, the more I think and talk about what I want to talk about, and you know, because when I first started this, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to get into. I just knew that I enjoyed sitting here talking, and so I knew this was my passion. And then I started, you know, really talking about certain things. And then when me and you would have conversations too, you know, it was just like, man, I know what I want to talk about. And it's just like, it's the thing that, you know, that is in my heart. It's the thing that, here's the crazy thing. I don't really have any mental problems that I can think of. I mean, I've had little small traumas.
I know you pretty well. You might need to get checked.
Just kidding. Yeah, right. No, exactly. But I mean, honestly, like, but I've had my kids deal with things that we've had things, you know, and I've got so many people around me, you know, my brother's dealing with a couple of things right now with, you know, and it's just, it's everywhere. And and the more I'm looking, the more it's getting, and I'll be honest with you, there's two that I'm really focusing on more than anything. And it's veterans and it's younger kids. Definitely. You know, these 12 and 13-year-olds that are just, I mean, you know, the social media is just really messing. People don't realize what it's doing, you know, to our brains. I
want to share something with you. You just said social media. I brought a few notes with me because, you know, I can't remember. But I like to touch on key points. So when Mark Zuckerberg, you know, when he started Facebook, right?
Yeah, right.
Which has been, I guess, right at 20 years.
Yeah, we're right at about 20 years.
Yeah. So in all I do, sometimes I'll bring my journals because they give me an intro, you know, just reading an excerpt.
Right.
It doesn't, the only thing it proves to me is that my intuition was right, you know, because that helps me with the dysfunctional things that I'm missing up in here in this part of my, you know, my prefrontal that was tore up. So I figure it's supposed to be dead area where you're never going to get that back in the brain, supposedly. But if you attempt to exercise it, it seems to make it better, I guess. Is how, you know, how you. So there's the difference between, you know, the people who look at statistics, they're just numbers on paper.
Yeah,
that's all it is.
Yeah.
Statistically, X amount of people die from, I'm going to throw something out there, breast cancer. You know, but look at the people. Think about the famous people, but not only that, the people you never hear about that beat cancer twice with doing nothing but changing their diet.
Yes, 100%.
How powerful is your mind? But anyway, this is the little thing I wrote. A new thing occurred today. A guy named, and I thought, I seen it on the news, Facebook.
Right.
So, and I put a new young man a new Harvard-educated young man is bringing on this thing called Facebook. His name's Mark Zuckerfield. So his name's Zuckerberg, but I put Zuckerfield, and I said, it's a story about knowing everybody. It's called Facebook. That's interesting. So now everyone gets to know everything about you.
Right.
And then I put, wow, I don't know about this. I don't know about this. I don't feel that anything good will come of this.
And you wrote that 20 years ago. That's crazy, man.
And that was the thing, because I've always been able to relate back to my mental health issues.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know if it's as far as your story goes, I know when you told me, we had a little bit of talk, we've had several times where we've talked, but you had mentioned something that I just really think that's important, that people hear, and whether you want to talk about it or not, but I know you had mentioned something to me about how you got to a point, or there was a point in your life where you couldn't walk.
Yeah.
And then do you mind stepping into that a little bit?
It doesn't, what it is with the type of central nerve damage, neuropathy that I have, what it does is the nerves, I studied this extensively too, because it's me, and, what it is, demyelination happens. It's like you see a nerve like an electrical cord. And electrical cord has, it's wrapped with a protective thing. That way, when you chew on it, it don't shock you.
Right, right, exactly.
Nerves are the same way. Basically, you got your brain and your spinal cord, and all your nerves come out of it. And when they're damaged, such as mine have been, there's times when there's no sensation. And, I've had several surgeries, hands, carpal tunnel, cubicle tunnel, all this stuff. And it's to relieve the pain, more or less, but you lose the sensation just from the disease of peripheral and central nerve system. It's like, I don't know why that, and I guess it's a problem I have, is I'm selfish to myself. I should be more committed to the message that I'm trying to put out there as a street therapist.
Yeah,
going into homeless camps and trying to get a veteran that's.
And so let's step into that. Honestly, that was a really hard. It was so heartwarming when you told me about just hearing about. I've done told you, you don't even know the people I've already told your story to, just because of what you've told me, how amazing that a person you are, for what you've dealt with, and that you can want to do and help people that are dealing with what you're dealing with at the same time deal with it,
Yeah.
And going into them camps and, saving them people and stuff,
I hate to, because I don't want to, I guess that's where I get kind of selfish with myself, is I don't want no focus on me. I don't know why.
Well, that's what this is about you. No, I get it, man. Know, and that's cool. That's the man you are.
Yeah.
That's the human you are. That's the if it was any other way, I would be like, I would think something if it was any other way. No man wants the spotlight on him, but let me tell you, man. Let me tell you, when a man does what you do, you need that on you sometimes, because here's the thing. People are going to see that, and it's not about, oh, look what Mark did.
It's about that
that man I like him. He's cool. How do I get in touch with him? How can I talk to him?
I've had a lot
How
of
can I
people-
sit down and talk to Mark? Because I liked Mark. He was a really cool guy on the show.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that. You know what I'm saying?
I
Like,
do anything to help people. I'm an advocate for all things good, especially somebody who's going through this trap called mental health, and it can become a trap. So I guess like I love focusing on when I go. I love to share my homeless camp stories. Some of them are great, you know.
Right.
And what I mean great, there's nothing great about being homeless.
No. I get
But
what you're
the
saying.
stories of the resilience in these people, some of them, is incredible. They inspire me.
Yeah.
They inspire me. Why does somebody sleeping on a park bench in 20-degree weather with 8 different colored blankets on? They're dirty, they stink, blah, 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 which, you know, there's the stigmatizations of homeless. People donate Coleman stoves to me. And I know my grandfather taught me how to rebuild Coleman stoves when I was 10 years old. And I rebuild the stoves, and in the winter, I take them to the homeless people to heat their tents and to cook their food.
That's awesome, man.
And see, you would think, and here's what's strange, man. You know, I don't know, most guys know, but you probably do. You can heat a tent with a Coleman stove. You just turn it way down.
Oh, yeah.
My grandfather showed me you can take an aluminum can and split it open and open it up and set it on the burners to where to create, where it'll let the heat. And I mean, I remember when I was a kid, we'd be in a big, cabin tent with big, tall sidewalls and have a Coleman stove turned down and be camping and stay warm.
Yeah.
So I got the idea. I used to go Bardstown Road, 264 right there. There's the bridge, the bridge of 264 and Bardstown Road.
Right.
And there's homeless people that live up underneath there. And I just got into the habit of, first of all, I don't ever give them money, never. But I do buy lots of Happy Meals, and I do buy a lot of. When I buy them Happy Meals, they do not get a soda pop. They get a orange juice or a milk. So I change that. But what I'm getting at is like helping homeless. I mean, them Happy Meals. The reason I get Happy Meals, honestly, is because it makes me really happy when I can do it for them.
Right. That's awesome, though.
And it really does.
I mean, that's awesome.
But no guts, no glory. That's not what I want. I just want you to do it every now and then, and you to do it just every now and then, and you to do it.
Right.
I've donated things to people.
I would be glad to go with you.
Yeah. Well, it's a blast.
No, real talk. Like,
real.
I'd be glad to do that.
I would love to talk for you and me to sit on this couch and talk directly to some of the homeless people.
Oh, I would be down with that.
There's
100%.
no better way to.
It's crazy you said that because, like, years ago, I've had on my heart, like, I would see homeless people, and we've talked about homeless people several times.
Oh, yeah.
I had a friend that had, that had a contracting business, and he had one come up to him one time, and it was like asking for money or something, and he was like, well, I'll put you to work, and he's like, oh, I'll make more money out here, and so basically what it did was it rubbed that guy wrong. And so, like, but ever since then, I was like, it's been on my heart for 3 or 4 years, dude. Like, really, like, I thought about this one time. I thought about, going and doing almost exactly what you do and talking. Awesome. Because what really got me is I was talking to a buddy, and I was like, you got to think about a homeless person. When you think about that, you don't know that guy could have lost his whole family.
I go into the nest. I go into the nest of the homeless camp.
I mean, he could have lost his whole family in a fire.
I can tell you
and
stories.
He's like, oh my gosh, I can imagine the stories that you could.
I can tell you a story about a dear friend of mine, a Vietnam veteran that I used to go back and visit in a specific camp in Louisville, and I visited him a lot. And hey, Stan, why have you been homeless for 21 years, And he said, because I was fucked up when I got out of the war, and they wouldn't compensate me. He goes, my fucking his pay was like $390 a month. Is all he had.
That's so crazy.
So but you can't supplement a person that has served in the military and has fought for the freedom of.
Right.
Something is
right.
wrong.
To me, that's very not understandable. Like, and when you said the other day, you said, your passion is to one day have a mental hospital to where you can walk in and get mental health and walk back out. Man, that stuck with me, Mark. I have to say that stuck with me. When you said that, I thought, man, why? What is stopping us from doing it other than money? Like, really?
Nothing.
Like
The funds are there.
That should be something. That should be something. You should be able to have walk into a mental and get a little help and then walk out.
Let me share something with you, man. Something I have learned. I want to share this with everybody out there. This is going to really strike some people as, you might say he's fucking crazy, but I'm not. From the time a person says, enough's enough, I'm going to check out, okay? From the time they say that to the time they do that is generally averages about 8 minutes.
Yeah.
8 minutes.
That's so crazy, man.
8 minutes.
That's so crazy.
So, and another thing I want to touch on is you've got to know how to speak to someone that's suffering really bad with deep depressive or anxiety or, because there's things you can say that are terribly, terribly not good to say because it creates, sometimes they claim it could actually create and cause the veteran or the person with mental deficits to say, I'm checking out,
Right.
And I've heard stories and seen stories. I've got police officer friends and of going in and, what's sad is going in and there's someone that's, maybe hung themselves. And the saddest part is they say some of them, a lot of them, have scratch marks in their necks too, because after they got up there, they might have changed their mind and said, maybe I can just try one more time. Well, that's my hope. That's what I want to do. I want everybody out there to know, please try one more time. Please, for everybody. I don't give a damn who you are. I feel you.
Right.
I feel you. I promise I do. And I do not mind at all if, and I do this, my phone number can be placed down at the bottom. Because if anybody wants to call me at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, 5, I don't give a damn. Call me.
Right.
A crisis, when you're in crisis, you just need somebody to talk to. And please do. It doesn't matter. We all know that it's something. Everybody goes through stuff. And I want to tell you, everybody has a bad day. But you might have 2 bad days. Right. But when you get in a position to where you just don't really know, you're feeling like everything is just out of whack.
Right.
And you don't really know why. Just ask somebody. If you've got a dear friend, your mom, your dad, if you have them available, someone you trust, don't just blab out to anyone. It's your mental health.
Right, exactly, yes.
Don't go blabbing out to anyone at all. But anyway, Stan, this Vietnam vet, he was so mentally off that he didn't realize it. And the bottle was his best friend. He didn't have nothing else. He was totally secluded.
Right. No, I mean, that's understandable.
I went into a real bad, I hope you don't mind if I'm opening my soul up.
No, you're fine, man. 100%.
But I went into a really super bad episode of total isolation not too long ago. Just leave me alone. Just leave me alone.
Right.
What's them 3 words we talk about already? Remember them? You remember them?
Yeah. And what's crazy is when you told me, it's funny that you brought that up because I have literally I've told right after I talked to you about that, I went to my wife and daughter and asked them, hey, what do you think's the the most important 3 words, and because it stuck with me. You literally, because what does everyone think? I love you.
Yeah,
that's
sure.
exactly.
Yeah.
But it's not. Mm-hmm. It's not. The most important words is, "Are you okay?"
Thank you.
And that is so powerful.
Sure,
I mean, it is because, and it's crazy because the 3 words "I love you" is said all the time.
And that's
powerful. Are you okay is never said.
Never. And a lot of people, it's never thought. It's never thought. You see your kid, they're running, they're playing, they're having fun and all that. And then all of a sudden you notice, here's the thing is if you notice that your kid's becoming detached or like disconnected, you can tell. You're a parent. The problem is maybe you're not paying attention to. So it's important that you do, because I hope everyone realizes, unfortunately, childhood suicide rates are way up.
Way up.
I mean, come on. I mean, these are kids. I've been there, done that. That's why, just beware of, and I've got things that I can send you that they're little tidbits of information that'll help you distract maybe something that will save your child's life.
Yeah.
What's more important?
Right.
What is more important?
Right.
And with me, let me tell you, the night that my daughter told me that, I mean, I laid on a garage floor. I didn't finish the story because I got a little...
No, you're good. Go ahead. Yeah.
But, and here's the thing. I'm so glad that I can share it. There's certain things I can share, certain things I can't.
Right. That's okay. There's nothing wrong.
I came home. I had a gallon of whiskey. I laid on the garage floor. When I got to my garage, I was too embarrassed to go inside. Here's why. Firstly, I'm PTSD, terribly depressed, anxious, all this stuff. Had it forever. Lived with it my whole life. Not man enough to tell my family, And then my daughter says, I'm suicidal.
Right.
I said, fuck it. I'm checking. This is it. And I laid on the garage floor for 20 hours in my underwear and a gallon of whiskey in my hand, drinking it until it was gone. And then wallowing and loathing on the floor and screaming and crying and kicking, saying, you no good bastard. It's your fault. You made your daughter the way she is. What the fuck did you do to her? Yeah. And I blamed myself. And that's what a lot of people do.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of courage. Everybody listen to me. It takes a hell of a lot of courage. It hurts. But you have to understand sometimes it's not your fault if someone else is having problems with their mental capabilities.
Right.
You notice another thing, I never use illness behind mental.
Right.
It's brutal. It's a fucking stigma.
Yeah.
I don't like it. And if you want to see me, if you want to see my blood pressure raise about that much, we'll have a show about stigmas, because they're the very things. This is a personal opinion because I've been there. Stigmas are one of the main reasons why that people go over the edge.
Yeah.
I'm no good. They call me fucking Fruit Loop. They call me wacko. Yeah. They call me, don't fuck with him. He's got, I know I'm kind of going everywhere, but.
Well, it's crazy because like what you just said, that's a good point. Cause
it's ridiculous, man.
Right now, that's everywhere. And back in, when you was a kid, you went to school and someone called you something and you had to deal with that. But now it's like you go on your phone and you're immediately, if you're in an unliked type of deal on your phone, you're unliked by lots of people. And it can really, put someone, we've got some girls right now in our family that are going back and forth, and it's like,
ridiculous.
They don't realize what they're doing and what other people are doing, and they're getting other people, and this person's saying this person this and this, and it's like, that people kill themselves over that.
Dude, I've had people, and I'm not kidding you, man. I have it in here too. the podcast wouldn't be long enough for me to share them. But in my journals, I've been journaling for a long time. It's another piece of medicine I use. When you've got another message for sure, and I'm going to be giving tidbits of messages as we talk. But because if it's on here, I need to let it out.
Right. No,
but you got to realize that. First of all, there's great therapists. You're going to run. Trust me, I've probably been through 30 or 40 in my life, but you're going to find out. Don't get discouraged if the first therapist isn't a fit, doesn't fit you.
Exactly, right.
It's going to happen. I don't want to say fired. It's just they don't fit.
Yes.
You can feel it. Mm-hmm. Don't waste your time. Find another therapist because the really good ones that I have are the reason I'm sitting here.
Yeah.
Because, and it's to teach you, there's so many different kinds of therapy, and I know about all of them. I've been through almost everything. There was a couple I thought of the other day that I haven't been through. I don't know. I probably wrote it down somewhere, but most of them I've been through. Some of them last for a little while. Some of them don't do no good at all. Yeah. But with you, might be different. That guy might be different. That guy, I encourage you, don't stop. I mean, I tell you something I'm very, very pleased with. I'm a active member of U.S. Pain Association, and I've been an advocate for them for a long time. I'm a member. I sit in on their webinars and all that stuff. And U.S. Pain's come a long way, leaps and bounds. You know why? Their voice is being heard because of people like me. I'm a member. So when I get that special email that says, hey, we need you to send a letter to Congressman whoever about this new law that they're proposing to possibly make chronic pain a disease. Well, I'm living here with 31 years of chronic pain, severed neck,
chronic pain, yes,
the real McCoy. I'm sitting here. I know what do you want to know about what it's done to me? Please ask.
Right.
I'll be glad to tell you.
Right.
I will smile and be glad to tell you because it's people like me. Every time that vote clicks up, or every time, I love to say it like this, we pester the fuck out of our government, they tend to listen.
Yes, yeah.
And so bring attention to what you believe in, and don't ever give up, man. Don't ever give up. If at one time when I was a child, I gave up. I was suicidal. I put a gun in my mouth. I was 14 years old.
I remember you saying that.
Yeah, and haven't since then, because there's one thing I've realized is think of the people around you that love you. And I've got a 7-year-old grandson and another one on the way. And my thoughts are, I'm not suicidal and I'm not self-harming because I don't want that legacy to be left with my grandson. I don't want him to be in 10 years from now, if I pass of natural causes, I don't want my grandson to, be shooting pool with his buddies. Hey, where's your grandpa? Well, my grandfather died by suicide.
Right.
I want him to say my grandfather died of natural causes or whatever.
Right.
Because, and of course, once again, trust me, no one commits to suicide. Your mind there's something out of balance. Come on. There's clinicians that can help you. There's so many people that sit back and say, I'll go tomorrow. That's why we need walk-in clinics. It's just like if you break your ankle, what do? You go to the emergency room.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, you can go right across the street.
Right across the street.
Okay, you go across the street. They set your leg. If it's not bad, they might set your broken toe, whatever. They give you a little cast. They give you a sucker. You get a sucker, right?
Right.
A little lollipop.
Get a sucker.
You limp across the street.
Yeah.
And 6 weeks later, you're happily ever after, right?
Right.
Okay. Now it doesn't matter what time you break your fucking ankle, right? You can go anytime.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. What about the 8 minutes I talked about? 8 minutes from.
Right.
What if that person had the ability to walk through the door and walk straight in, and a therapist say, hi, how are you, sir? I'm not very good. Well, come right back. Let's talk about it. What's the cure? Everybody's got a different ideal. Mine is just whatever it takes to get them out of the cold. You know what I mean? If it
yeah.
means, okay, I don't mean to sound cruel when I say this because they deserve better. Maybe, maybe not. If they're living on the street, sleeping on a park bench in the middle of, or in front of a Walmart or at a church or whatever, that's, to me, a large dormitory hangar type metal building that's insulated. Isn't that better than them
Right.
sleep? So I guess, you know, what is the answer? I mean, the answer is you have to have support from the federal government.
Right.
And,
right. Yeah, 100%. Yes.
And there's no accountability there. So that's we the people's fault.
Well, and that's why I said, like, you know, angling towards the mental health because, you know, according to the government, I mean, they're just not, you know, it's like the fentanyl's out here on the streets.
Oh, yeah.
Some of the government has part of that.
Yeah.
It's just like, and it's like the more that stays out on the streets, the more people are getting on fentanyl. And once they get on that, that's like the worst. I say fentanyl, but, you know, I mean, there's all kinds of other things, but that's like one of the main things that's really just completely just tearing people apart. And a good person, you know, a good person like what you're talking about, like a veteran that fought for this country that, you know, has some mental issues because of something happened or some trauma or during the war or whatever. You know?
Here with most of the veterans, and I hear first line stories from them because I ask them, that's the part of me that really wants to dig deep into these guys to figure out why.
Right.
And most of them stigmatizations.
Yeah.
That's pretty much, that's a lot of it. They're like, look, man, I don't want to go to the VA hospital because they tell me I stink. They tell me I'm dirty. I said, who? You know, the fucking doctors that are taking care of me. You know,
Right.
And that goes down to you're always going to have condescending, arrogant ass people. You know,
Right,
You're
exactly.
always going to have them like that. Here's the thing: you can gratitude and empathy, two words that have kept me alive. Also, gratitude's one. Empathy's the other. The people who have problems with programs like we're talking about usually are the people who don't know a fucking thing about empathy.
Right.
They don't know nothing about it. They're the
100%.
blessed. They're the silver
That is
spoon.
definitely, yeah.
But you know what? It amazes me that someone can be not only that cold and just completely disconnected. Oh, that's sick. That's a home. You know, give that homeless person a fucking bath, blah, blah, blah. I'm sure that homeless person would love to take a bath.
Right.
I'm sure they would love to take a bath. You know, I was walking down, I do a lot of driftwood, you know, collecting.
Yes.
It's one of my hobbies. It's something that soothes me. Nature, by the way, nature. It will do wonders for your psyche.
100%.
And I don't care how you do it. Just get out in nature. Turn the fucking cell phone off. Leave it in your vehicle. Or better yet, I didn't mean to say leave it. You shouldn't. Put it in your pocket if you're walking way out in the woods in case of emergency.
Right.
But what I'm saying is, you know, when you get out there, get rid of all distractions. Sit at a base of a tree and just listen and look. And you will be amazed at the way it will decompress.
Amazing.
Just
Yes.
nature. It's fresh air, sunshine, vitamin D.
You almost have to do exactly what you said.
You have to.
Sit at a base of a tree.
Yes.
It's like something about sitting
Yes.
at a base of a tree
Yes.
with your back against a tree in the woods. Something about that right there is just...
The biggest mind wars that I've had throughout my life, which is a lot, but the biggest ones that felt like my head was going to just totally explode is when I went out, took my tent, my Coleman stove, my sleeping bag, and just moseyed out in the woods somewhere for about 4 or 5 days, and it would reset my mind.
That's crazy.
Naturally.
That's awesome.
Because people don't realize the hustle and the bustle until it's perfectly quiet.
Oh, no.
And then it's heaven.
I'm a victim of that,
Oh.
man. I don't even know what it's like to go to the woods anymore.
I would rather, honestly, I'd rather be in a tent, primitive, than glamping in a big fifth wheel with all the, you know.
We were just talking about this the other day. I was talking to a buddy about camping, and he's like, we were talking about, you know, the type of camping that people do nowadays, and the type of camping he was talking about. And it was just like, oh, you're talking about going to the wood, like, and I was just like, man, honestly, that's therapy right there. That's real stuff.
And trust me when I say that. See, that's how all these books get filled up with writing, because I'll go out on an excursion, on a primitive excursion by myself. You would be amazed if you sit and if you really focus on, as I said, there's no cure for it, but you can make yourself better mentally just by reflecting, writing down things.
Yeah.
And I do that a lot. And before I know it, I've been there 3 days and I've written 100 pages of thoughts, of things that says, I am enough. I do that a lot to people, and they're startled when I do it. I tell you the experience I got about a few years ago. I got a buddy that, now I grew up, and I'm just going to start with this. I grew up not around hunting or fishing or anything like that. I just wasn't raised. My dad wasn't around. So it was my grandpa most of the time, and my uncle, and it was more cars, and that's what I grew up around. And so I didn't go fishing, I didn't go hunting, so I didn't have that lifestyle. So I went hunting with a buddy it wasn't the first time I went hunting. I went hunting a little bit, maybe 10 years before that, but it wasn't. I guess this particular time was a little bit more remembering to me, and it was amazing because I learned something. We went hunting, and the greatest thing about hunting, and I'll tell you straight up, like, I'm not scared to kill a deer, but I don't have the heart. Like, I'm just, unless I really got to eat this thing, like, I'm not that type of guy. I can get me a T-bone at Kroger.
Right, I'm not that guy. So, like, if we come to the world where I have to do this, I will do what I got to do to survive. But I tell you, I realized what some people get out of hunting, and it was the most amazing. It was exactly what you were talking about. Yes. We go out in a tent. We were out in a little blind. It was 4:00 in the morning. Mm-hmm. Not a sound in the woods. We creeping back in the woods. We're sitting in a tent.
Part about
silent as cold, silent. Oh my gosh, the best peace you could ever get. And I thought that's exactly why people like coming out here. And because I thought to myself, I was like, how am I going to sit? Because he's like, because when we first did it, we was going at 5. We walked in the woods at 5:00 in the morning, and he's like, yeah, we'll probably come out about 2:00. I'm like, what? Yeah. We're going to stay in the woods this long?
Deer hunter, yeah.
Dude, but the crazy thing about that was when we went in there, I was sitting there thinking, like, how am I going to do this in pure silence till 2:00? Like, but it was the most easiest, best thing. It was like the greatest. Yeah. I looked up and it's like 12:00, and then one. I mean, it was great.
I don't know if you felt this, but I always do. Is you feel like you've liberated yourself, like you've filtered out.
I see what you're saying when you say reset. Like, you could really reset. Yeah. You could really reset from the world. Like, just going. It made me want to do exactly when you said you take a tent and you do that. I understand.
My long dream has been, and I'm getting older, and I hope I can do this, and I'm still going to pursue it, because I'm a lot like you in ways that, effort. We talked about effort. Yeah. What effort means, and effort means a lot. And so the way I thought I could bring a lot of attention to, first of all, if you want to bring a lot of attention to something, you have to get a lot of support from the people, obviously. But movie stars will get you a lot of stuff done. This, musicians, whatever it may be, influence. But I thought of something that's like Victories for Veterans, which would be a program that allows, and this would be full. So, I talk about my circle of love. This would be full circle love. We could connect this in. But so you take a veteran that's less fortunate and has stuff like I do. You take that veteran, and along with other veterans that have the disabilities, and you take a group of autistic children or Down syndrome children or just challenged children that need help, but you also take their parents. So you go on an outing, an expedition, and it's Victories for Veterans. The veterans are grouped with the autistic child and the autistic child. Now, when I say family, I say mom, dad, brother, sister, whoever.
Right.
And you teach them survival skills.
Yeah.
But so everybody's interacting. But here's the kicker: the kid's teaching the veteran's teaching the kid
Right.
survival skills, but the kid gets to teach mom, dad, brother, and sister the survival skills. The autistic kid or the
Right.
Down syndrome. So this is a big deal, and the finish line. Everybody gets first place because all you have to do is cross the finish line of, let's say, the finish line of survival.
Right.
Yay! So you got this young kid that's has challenges automatically, teaching their parents instead of the parents teaching the kids. So now the parents is learning.
Like, okay, men's mental health. Has anybody asked you if you're okay?
No.
I went to jail for the first time when I was 10.
Ask yourself
and ask
if you're
yourself,
okay.
yeah, are you okay? Ask
That's
yourself,
a
are
good
you
one.
okay? You got to be careful because that snake will get you.
First band I was in, I was 16 years old.
It's a lot of heartbreak,
Yes.
a lot of misdirection.
Right.
Drug use gets worse, gets better, gets worse, gets better, gets way worse.
My brother quit
Just
Cold.
quit cold turkey.
cold turkey.
Drugs and alcohol wasn't a problem. I was the problem.